Right, you lot, let's talk Villa, and today we are putting F in the chat. Press F, please, to pay your respects to our fallen soldier, and that is Douglas Luiz. It's been widely reported now. I'll throw all the tweets up that I can find in the world and all the articles going round on the old Bing and the Googles, but Douglas Luiz looks like he is finally out of Aston Villa. Long-standing rumour that he's not going to be signing a new contract with us, and it looks like we've finally negotiated a deal with Juventus, which will see us bring in £20 million, Weston McKennie and Samuel ILING-JUNIor. We're going to go through Weston McKennie and Samuel ILING-JUNIor's stats live for you guys right now, and then I'm going to talk about where both of them fit in to our team going forward, possibly some other transfers that we might see as a result of this one, and then what it means for Villa. Can we really replace Douglas Luiz? All of your comments are more than welcome. I'd like to hear your feedback on this. It's pretty much our first big confirmed transfer of the summer, and it is a very, very sad one because Douglas Luiz is a fan favourite for many of us. So let's get into the video with Weston McKennie and Samuel ILING-JUNIor, who are our two new players that we're getting from Juventus. So as you can see on the screen, we're back to our trusty football, but I've actually done a whole in-depth video on Weston McKennie on the channel, so be sure to go and check that one out. It's all about the proposed trade with just him and Douglas Luiz. But for Juventus this season, he actually is a lot better than you probably do remember him at Leeds. He mainly played centre mid, but played a lot of games as a right mid / right wing back. They play a flat 3-5-2 formation. He usually plays either in the middle of the midfield three, on the right of that three, or at that right mid out and out spot. This season in the league, 29 starts, 7 assists, no goals, getting an average rating of 7.10. He's 185 centimetres tall, so much more of a physical presence than Douglas Luiz. 25 with a current market value of around 28 million euros. His stats this season, what points out to me is the fact that his XG was actually relatively good. He should have scored 3 goals this season. Obviously, turned out that he only got 0, so probably something he needs to work on, but again, maybe not that type of player that we're looking to bring in. 7 assists puts him nearly right at the very, very top of midfielders in Serie A, and outperforming his expected assists by 4, an 80% pass accuracy, 62% long ball accuracy. He created 41 chances for his teammates this season and made 14 successful crosses on an average of 23% in possession, 18 successful dribbles, a success rate of only 40%, but nearly just over 1,500 touches, and 72 of them coming in the opposition box. So not afraid to be a box-to-box midfielder who breaks through the lines and gets forward. He won 29 tackles off of a 60% success ratio, 115 duels and 38 aerial duels, all on around 50%. It's not terrible, and then the rest of his defensive stats are there or thereabouts. So if we move on to Samuel ILING-JUNIor, this is the one that kind of came out of left field. Now, he's down as a left mid, but he does also play as a sort of left wing back, left back. Defensively, he is very, very good. He actually came, I believe, from the Chelsea Academy, and Bayern Munich were after him as well. But you can see another physical specimen, only 20 years of age, 182 centimetres, and let me tell you, this guy is rapid. Usain Bolt, please come outside and have a chat with Samuel ILING-JUNIor, because he might be able to beat you in 100 metres right now. I think that's probably because Usain Bolt ruptured his Achilles playing soccer aid, but nevertheless, he is very, very, very quick. This season for Serie A, managed 24 games, only 4 starts, getting 2 assists and a goal, on an average rating of about 6.6. Definitely one for the future, valued at around 15 million euros currently. His stats, to be honest with you, nothing particularly stands out to me, apart from that cross success ratio is very, very good. 41%, 19 successful crosses this season. His passing accuracy leaves something to be desired, so does his long ball accuracy, and offensively, not the most amazing output in the world. Again, Juventus play this 3-5-2, which is flat, which is probably why he didn't get many minutes this season. He's more of a left wing back / left back, and like I say, playing a more defensive left mid role, so maybe don't look too far into the attacking stats. Possession wise, dribble success rate, again, it's not the highest in the world, and his touches, etc., etc., are low. That's purely because of the minutes that he's played. He did win 75% of his aerial duels, though. Again, crosses to the back post, something that Villa were weak at last season, and was only dribbled past 7 times. If we look at his per 90s, gives us a bit of a better example because, again, he is only getting 4 starts out of 24 games. His actual per 90 stats are pretty good. He would average about a goal every 10 games in terms of his XG as well. And his shots on target are pretty good, about a shot on target every 5 games from that defensive left mid role. His assists, he averages about 1 every 4 games in terms of, again, per 90s, and his pass accuracy is a little bit better at 79%, creating about 2 chances a game though, which again is very, very good, and 2 crosses a game that are successful on a 41% success ratio is very, very decent. And again, possession wise, a lot of touches, and he's getting forward into the opposition box quite a lot as well, winning a good amount of tackles, nearly 2 per game. Again, that aerial success duel percentage right up there, not really committing too many fouls and not really being dribbled past a great deal either. Again, I haven't really seen too much about this kid. He is only 20 years of age, but he did come from a good academy. Juventus clearly saw something and still see something in him to be valuing him as high as they are as part of this swap deal, and we could possibly be looking at a new left back this season. But let's get into that. Where does this deal put Aston Villa in terms of our squad for next season? Things to take into consideration is financial fair play. It's been widely reported that Villa are one of the teams that are going to have to sell before the end of June. There's also rumblings that Man City, if it was a straight sale, would have got 20% of the deal for Douglas Luiz, and apparently this negates it. Again, I'm not sure how it works. There's also more rules that I just can't get my head around in terms of financial fair play, where if it's a swap deal, you can get more of the profit and some of the player... Again, it's all confusing. But this deal, I think, is going to be FFP and is it PSR, sustainability. It's going to be governed by that. It's clearly in the forefronts of our minds. We have to get certain players off of the books. And Douglas Luiz, don't get me wrong, one of our best players over the last 2 to 3 seasons. However, it is reported that a new deal has been on the table, a new contract for him for a substantial amount of time now, and he is just not signing it. Probably because he wants to go and get a new challenge somewhere else. He's been playing for Villa now for what, 3-4 seasons since he was 21, 22. He's 26. He's in the prime of his career, and even though we've just got Champions League football, you know, we can't expect the players to love the club as much as us fans do. So in that sense, maybe it does make sense that him over Jacob Ramsey was the one that was being sold. Similarly, he didn't perform to the same levels without Kamara next to him as he did at the start of the season, and perhaps Emery's looked into that and maybe wants a player that's a bit more flexible when injuries and rotation inevitably does occur. Now, Weston McKennie is a bit of a left field choice. Yes, we all remember him from his time with Leeds, but this is not the same player that was coached by Jesse March. He's now being coached, you know, what is it, Allegri in Juventus. He's been playing in Serie A a lot this season, 7 assists in the league, and offers a bit of flexibility. Now, Samuel ILING-JUNIOR, there's been a lot of reports that either Digne will be looking to be moved on due to his wages, and then there was a fresh report that came out that Moreno is desperate to move back to Spain and doesn't want to play for Villa anymore. So it could be a bit of a shrewd way to get an FFP boost and get a new left back in, and then get extra money from the sale of a left back. The 20 million euros plus these 2 players, look, I don't think it's enough, but we're not negotiators, we're not football agents, and we're not sporting directors. We don't know how hard it is to squeeze money out of these clubs. You know, Juventus got hit by FFP recently. Perhaps there's no better viable options on the table to move Douglas Luiz on, and this was just the best option out of the bunch. But, you know, in the end of the day, we have to look at it. We're getting £20 million. Yes, we're losing 1 player, but we are gaining 2, and we needed a bigger squad, I think, to compete in the Champions League next season. A better first team squad. Again, obviously, we're going to be competing in 4 competitions, 2 of which are the premier in Europe, you know, the Premier League and the Champions League. So I'm just trying to find the positives out of it. I think Samuel ILING-JUNIOR is a very shrewd signing. If he develops into the player that Chelsea and Juventus clearly think that he could be, we could be looking at this signing in a few seasons going, oh wow, he's one of the best left backs in the Premier League right now. We got him for part of a swap deal where we got money and 2 players. Weston McKennie, again, he offers something different to Aston Villa. I'm intrigued to see how that signing does work for us, but it is ultimately going to be really, really sad to lose Douglas Luiz. But we are getting a centre mid / right mid and a left back / left wing / left mid, so we're almost replacing, you know, 6 positions for 1. Very, very sad to see Douglas Luiz go, But if it was his time, he's not signing the contract, and this is something that Emery wants to do to bring the team forward, and he likes the profiles of Weston McKennie and Samuel ILING-JUNIOR. It works for FFP. You've got to trust the deal. It's 2 players for 1, plus money. Might be getting us out of a sticky situation. And Douglas Luiz, again, one of our best players, but has had his ups and downs. I thank him for all of his service. He's been thoroughly brilliant. Hopefully this deal works for everyone involved and he goes on to play great for Juventus, and the 2 that are coming in play brilliantly for us. But please do let me know what you think down in the comments below. In terms of whether these 2 players will start, I don't think so. I think Samuel ILING-JUNIOR we brought in as a backup left back, and I think Weston McKennie might be as a rotation option, but we will see. Perhaps McKennie, again, I haven't watched him for Juventus this season. The fans in Juventus seem to think he had a really good season. Perhaps he is the future of our midfield. We don't know, but it's still football, it ain't soccer. Up the Villa. Be nice to everyone. I look forward to your comments, and I'll see you soon.